but
Oh my,
yesterday, on Monday,
oh my God.
the biggest, most lucrative membership offer in the history of college athletics was offered by the University of Memphis to the Big 12. Among sort of what the details were, one, 200 million big ones. $200 million is what Memphis was prepared to offer the Big 12 for membership. But on top of that, they would take zero distribution for the final 5 years of the Big 12's TV deal with ESPN and Fox. Of the $200 million, $150 million over 5 years would be sponsorship. So each school, each member institution would be able to take advantage of that. And then here's where they really went above and beyond.
Dude.
They were going to be, if they were to get this deal through with the Big 12, they would be subject to expulsion. So they would, the Big 12 could decide to kick them out after 20, 30, 31 if the Big 12 deems the Tigers aren't adding value. So this is the most simple, no risk deal in the history of college athletics. And the Big 12 had an opportunity on their hands, but it seems like they have denied. They didn't hold a formal vote. They just said that they're not interested. Now,
Ross Dellinger came out today. He's kind of the one that broke the details
right,
of it. And
from
he
Yahoo
said,
Sports.
yeah, and he said straight up, it will literally, that deal, that proposal will change the landscape of conference realignment proposals.
Sure. Well,
moving forward.
I was going to mention that. I think the landscape had already been changed. Memphis is following a bit of a precedent. But I think, the first thing that you see from Memphis fans and from other people is like shaming Memphis. Like, oh, you're willing to pay this amount of money to get into a bigger conference. How desperate are you? Blah, 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 blah. Here's the problem with that type of thinking, that line of thinking is SMU 2 years ago to get into the ACC paid $200 million, if you will, and forfeited 9 years of TV revenue to get into the ACC. They, unfortunately, for group of 5 schools that want to get into the power structure, into the Power 4, they set a precedent.
Yeah.
So to get into the power conferences, Memphis just did what they had to, right? This is something that Tulane, Boise State, UTSA, USF, UNLV, all these schools in the group of 5, if they want to get in the Power 4, they're going to have to do something similar. So I don't think there's anything to be ashamed about because SMU set the precedent for this. But here's where I get, a little bit frustrated is this is embarrassing to literally lay your life on the line, to forfeit all of that money, $200 million plus not taking any shares of the TV revenue, to put all that on the line and face expulsion in 2030, 31, which SMU didn't put in the ACC contract if they didn't like you, the Big 12. It's embarrassing to get denied with all that on the table. It was a no-risk deal for the Big 12, but they still said no. And what's embarrassing about it is if this doesn't cut it, it just seems like nothing will. And like you have this University of Memphis athletic department and school that thinks they need to be a part of the power structure that's aiming for that. And it feels like nothing's enough and nothing ever will be enough. That's what gets to be a bit embarrassing about the whole thing. I don't shame them in the slightest for their direction here. In fact, I take some positives away from it from Ed Scott's perspective. There's a clear and obvious want and need to get out of the American Athletic Conference. And there's a clear and obvious direction. They want to get to the power conferences. Mm-hmm. But to have to face a no like this when you're basically offering the Big 12, the moon and the stars, that to me is just as brutal as a no as we have seen in all of conference realignment.
Can I push back a little bit on that?
Go ahead.
I don't see it as embarrassing at all in the slightest. And I'll tell you why. Because Memphis basically just said, for all the narratives that are out there, they came out with this deal and smashed every narrative about the University of Memphis.
The money,
the investment, the willingness to invest into the program, into the athletic department. They have capable leadership that is able to get people on board with what the direction is they're trying to head in. And honestly, if we look at it this like me and you had a conversation prior to in the green room, where we were kind of analogizing this to, a dating relationship where you are courting somebody and so go on a date with me, take me, like choose me. And the response to it is it is clear to me that Ed Scott and Bill Hargrave, and not only that, they can love what they have and the vision they're going in because they kind of are paid to, right? Like they are the vision casters, the vision makers for the University of Memphis athletic department and the university as a whole. But they have big time international global brands that are saying,
right,
we believe in you too.
Lowe's, AutoZone, FedEx.
100% FedEx is consistently, even with people who were asking questions once Fred Smith passed away, like, what is FedEx's involvement going to be moving forward? And it is clear they are as involved and even more involved and more willing to put financial culpability or financial weight behind their decision to be involved with the University of Memphis. To me, it's like, all right, Big 12, something's wrong with y'all. Like,
sure,
this is a situation where I say they have literally put every card on the table, and the Big 12 has said no. And it is not because the offer wasn't good enough. It's because for some reason the Big 12 says no. Okay, cool.
That's why
we move on.
That's why the denial in itself, that's what I was referring to as embarrassing. And you go back to the relationship thing. You've been talking to this girl, trying to get her to go on a date with you, trying to see you as a realistic boyfriend or partner, for I don't know, a decade, right? You've been trying and trying and trying. Well, now you got a brand new job. You make $100K a year plus. You make six figures. You got that rollie on your wrist. You have a stable home. You just bought a home. Like, you have all these things going for you. You approach that girl again and she says, no, not interested. Like, that's embarrassing to a certain extent. You've built yourself up to be courted by this woman or by the Big 12, if you're Memphis's case, and you're still getting a no. Even though you've built yourself up to this level, it's still not enough. That in itself to me is embarrassing. I'm not talking about the money raised. That's awesome. In the Ross Dellinger piece, he said that by next year, because of FedEx's donation,
unbelievable,
they expect to be at 20.5, the full 20.5 rev share, which is unbelievable in the group of five. Like, there's positives to this whole thing, but ultimately, I think the negative of being denied yet again with the most lucrative and best offer ever given to a conference, that's embarrassing. It hurts. It stings.
I think it's literally just them saying, we don't want you, and that's okay. You move on, and you say, okay, cool. Let's go find somebody else.
Can we dig into that?
Yeah.
And I want your honest opinion, because this is one of the hardest questions that we'll answer on today's show, on this podcast. Why don't they want you?
Yeah.
Why? Like, do you have a good answer for that? Like, because I've heard a bunch. Well, they don't want to be at 17 teams. That's an awkward number. Well, they have views of the city and they view it as a crime-ridden city and blah, blah, blah. And the school's not very good and academics, blah, blah, blah. Like, what truly is the reason, even with all this on the table, where the Big 12's like, you're not good enough for us? Like, what is it? Because if you go through the checklist items of what makes a great athletic department and great member institution in an athletic conference, good in basketball, check. Good in football, check. Revenue generating sports, in order. New stadium not new stadium, but newly renovated stadium owned by the school, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
It's crazy.
Basketball is constantly good. And they play in a professional arena downtown in Memphis on Beale Street in FedEx Forum. Clearly, the money's not an issue. They just raised $200 million to offer to the Big 12. You look at donor base. It's decent donor base. And like you said, we have multiple companies willing to invest. FedEx already has an NIL. AutoZone, Lowe's was part of this deal for $200 million to the Big 12. So, like, when you look at checklist items that are supposed, and here's the other thing, footprint in the South, which the Big 12 doesn't quite have. Like, you'd have a footprint in SEC country.
Right.
Like, all of these things, these checklist items that you want from a program to potentially make that jump into the power conferences, Memphis has. So, like, my ultimate question that I cannot find like a straight answer to, and maybe it's amalgamation of things. I get that. Why don't the Big 12 and their presidents and their chancellors and their commissioners, why don't they want Memphis? What is it?
I wonder if honestly it's a situation where, let's go back to the dating analogy. All right.
Okay.
You see you see this chick and she's a 10, right? Okay. You see this dude and he's a 10. They are just,
I don't relate as much to that, but
right,
sure.
Right. Well, you're a 10. I noticed that about you. You are a 10. But I see, you see this person and they're a 10. They have like physically, looks wise, everything. They have everything that you could ever want, right? You look at them and you say, man, everything is good about your looks are great. Your financials are great. This kind of stuff is great. But what if they're truly fucked up on the inside? Like, what if they are truly, and they're crazy?
So
you being
in the 10 is Memphis in this,
and you being a relationship with them, while it might feel really good in the moment because they're a 10, they're fucking your life up. Right? Like, what if that's what it is, Gabe? What if? Because I have another example. And I've used it twice on the Bluff City Media airwaves yesterday. And I'm going to use it again because I'm wondering, do you remember a few years ago when Elon Musk put it out there on Twitter, when it was still twitter.com, and said, Twitter is the space for news, and this is where free speech should happen. I am going to make an offer to the Twitter board of directors to own Twitter. And man, all of us were like, holy crap, this is terrible. If Elon Musk gets a hold of this, what's going to happen? This is going to be terrible. This, that, and the third. And then he drops the price tag. He says, this is what it is. This is how much it's going to cost for Twitter. And all of a sudden, the financial folks all around the country were like, oh, okay. Twitter board of directors might actually, if they refuse this offer, like, this is actually probably like a not doing your due diligence as the board of directors for a publicly owned company. You're not doing your job, because this deal is way better than what you could ever possibly imagine for a little company where you literally just go on and 148 characters later or 240 characters later, you got a little post. So he puts it out there and they say yes. And now Elon Musk is the owner of X.com, right? Yeah. I wonder if them denying Memphis this no risk, like lucrative deal proposal that's out there, is that more of a sign of Memphis being effed up, or is that the Big 12 being not doing their due diligence and not being about the things that matter? And that's in this industry, making money and providing the most possible money for your schools.
See, that's what I don't know, because Memphis is offering revenue to a commissioner in Brett Yormark and a conference in the Big 12 who's begging for revenue. They just signed a deal with PayPal and Venmo. They want to go to Mexico City for basketball events. This is why it just doesn't compute to me, and why I don't have an answer to that question. But
$250 million, Gabe.
I think the more apt comparison to that relationship, you said, because you originally said you're talking about a 10, but the person that's courting them may think they're deeply fucked up on the inside. That was the way that you said it. Right. And I think that's okay. I think this is more, Memphis is that 10, but one time the Big 12 saw them outside when they were going swimming and they think they have crusty toes. That's what it is.
No, I don't think this has anything to do with
Memphis. It's just a bunch of little tiny things that they're just being nitpicky as shit about. That's what I think.
I don't think this has anything to do with Memphis. If the fact that we are having to sit here and go, what is it? It's not the financials. It's not all the other bullshit that you've put out there. It's not this. It's not that. We've taken care of this. We own the Liberty Bowl now. We have this amount of sponsorship. We have this amount of money. We have investments coming in that are $250 million of investments coming in that we can give to you. We are going to be at the 20.5 revenue sharing next year in NIL money. We're not going to be one of those. We're not going to be way down here at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of NIL funds. We're going to compete with everybody in the Big 12, and they still say no. That to me is like, it's not Memphis, it's you. It's y'all.
Oh, but see, that's the problem. Well, then why is Memphis courting them so hard? Why is Memphis the one going to them with these offers, right? Memphis has the problem. They're in a bad conference, and they want to get to a good conference.
Yeah.
So if you're denying Memphis, clearly you think Memphis has an issue. You have an issue with Memphis. Academically, the view of the city, there's something there that the Big 12 and the presidents and the chancellors and the commissioner can't quite get over. And honestly, I don't know about the commissioner. Brett Yormark, if I've been reading the tea leaves, he probably was okay with this deal. He probably
agree.
was the one that was like, hell yeah, I'll take this.
Yeah.
But you start talking to Utah's chancellor and Utah's president,
Right?
Kansas's president and Kansas's chancellor. Then
Colorado, Deion Sanders called and said, hell no.
Right, but and here's the thing that I also heard out there. There was this idea, Memphis is just going to be a bottom dweller. Like, they're not going to be good. You're just adding a shitty team, and you have to remake the schedules because of that. Well, no, I don't think that's the case at all. Because if I'm, going through history, let's just we can talk about recent history, ancient history. I don't care. Memphis has done really good against Big 12 opponents.
Really good.
36-19 against Big 12 opponents in basketball.
Kiss my
5-2 against Big 12 opponents in football, and they've won 2 straight bowl games against Big 12 opponents. First one, of course,
Big
Iowa
12.
State. Second one, West Virginia. So,
yep,
that is not a reasonable criticism as to why Memphis should be left out or was left out, or why the Big 12 turned away from this deal.
Yeah, I mean, you asked the question, why is Memphis then still continuing to pursue the Big 12? We all have had a moment in our lives where we've courted and pursued a female, and then one day just realized, holy crap, they're crazy.
Yeah,
they're crazy. Maybe today, maybe Monday, July 21st.
And you know what you hope happens in most of those situations? You hope that in 5 to 10 years, that female in this instance, the Big 12 turns around and says, God, I was so stupid.
I was so dumb.
Why did I deny them? That's what you hope happens. And I think that, honestly, we can talk about the positives. I think that's the track Memphis is on to a certain extent, man.
I agree.
Right? Like 20.5 by next year in revenue share, the peak, the cap.
So crazy.
They were able to pull together and raise $200 million worth of value to a conference. And with that, they were able to forfeit really any TV revenue coming in with that $200 million. That shows that you're in decent shape as an athletic department. And also, I'll go back to what I said at the top of this. I think another positive is the fact that Ed Scott and this administration, they're very serious about getting into a bigger conference. As serious as anyone, quite literally, has been in the history of college athletics. So there's some positives to take. I know that the negative of being denied again outweighs a lot of that. There is some positives to take away.
You've heard Ed Scott. You've sat with him and talked with him, and you've heard him talk, and the dude is just smooth, and he just I love listening to him talk. He's phenomenal. I can hear him when they're proposing that the Dellinger post where they talked about the 3 things. I could hear his voice saying those things. I could hear him point number 3. Okay, like here's what we got to offer you.
Yeah, right.
But here's what I'm gonna tell you. We think we're gonna add value, but if you don't think we do, motherfuckers, y'all can kick us out in 5 years, bro. You can expel us,
dude. That is.
I can hear it, and I'm like,
that's borderline car salesman right there.
That fires me up, bro. Ed Scott, shout out to you, man. You put everything on the table, everything.
If you're not happy with us, you can return us. Full refund.
Yeah, man. We'll spice this up in the contract language. We'll say expel. But motherfuckers, kick us out in 5 years if you want to. If you don't think we add value, watch what we do. I can hear him saying that to those chancellors and all those guys, and I freaking love it. And I hope, man, I don't know, man. Obviously, it's sad. Obviously, it's like crap, man. Like that sucks that the Big 12. It was by far the hardest no the Memphis has ever received, ever. Right?
Yeah,
like
because
ever.
it was. Like, I want people to grasp this.
Yeah.
This is the biggest offer in the history of college athletics for membership. Like, not second, not third. It is first by a landslide. This is one of the hardest offers anyone has ever had to turn down, and they seem to have no issue with it at the Big 12.
They said absolutely zero.
It was like it was not no, it was hell no. And it's like, how?
Hell no.
How do you like? Did you even think about it?
No,
Did you sit down and have a meeting?
Did
Like
somebody,
when Ross Dellinger reported they didn't even vote on it, I'm like, what the? How can you not? $200 million on the line. They're not taking any money from you, and you don't even vote on it. That's insane.
Did you even get the art? Did you get the proposal? Did your printer run out of ink when we sent the fax?
Did we have the right email?
Like,
what's your fax machine number?
Check your junk mail. Like, is it in your junk mail?
Oh my God.
Like, what? But and so again, I take a look at that and I say, okay, cool. That's on you then. That's not on us.
Well, but
that's on y'all.
I get it, Kenny, but that doesn't make you feel any better about where Memphis is at in the American Athletics.
Oh, it does when the Big Ten or the ACC calls,
or the Big Ten. Okay, Big Ten, SEC, never calling.
When the SEC says, "Hey, how about we make a trade? Vanderbilt for Memphis. How about Vanderbilt for Memphis?"
It's not happening, so we get that out. What could happen though? I was thinking about this. I want your opinion before we move on. ACC,
yeah.
Could you take this offer and sort of translate and say, "Hey, CC, what's up?
Hey,
what's up? You already accepted SMU on a similar deal. You want to take us too?"
Here's what I would say to him. Hey, man, that was the Big 12 offer. We'll give you an ACC offer.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it might not
be. You have to talk back that
it might not be the
expelled.
Yeah,
the expelled thing. Take that out completely.
You can't expel us after 5 years.
Yeah, you guys don't have as much ground.
You guys have Wake Forest in your conference.
Well, and y'all had a ongoing lawsuit for like the better part of 4 years with your two best schools in Clemson and Florida State.
They don't think you add value,
right? So
you don't get to then come back to us and tell us you don't add value.
We're not gonna give you the same offer, but we can give you something similar. Like, should they do that? Is that something you'd be interested in?
Absolutely. Okay. Wouldn't you be interested in that?
I mean, yes, but I also have questions about the ACC long term more than I have questions about the Big 12 long term, for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. The Big 12 hasn't had a lawsuit for the last 4 years against them from their biggest schools. But it's crazy to me. It just once again proves that Memphis is in an American conference that just it's wild to me that Memphis is about to hit that 20.5 rev share cap that all these other Power 4 schools are hitting.
Honestly, I want people to grasp that's silly at a Group of 5 institution with the lack of TV money coming in every year.
It's crazy.
That's silly.
Dude, the American Conference, is it the only conference right now? I think it is that they don't have a cap to the top. They have a cap to the bottom. Like if you don't hit this mark,
right,
you risk.
They have $3.5 million over 3 years or something like that.
It's crazy.
But like Memphis, I believe in TV revenue last year made $11 million from the AAC, and they somehow are raising enough funds and getting enough donations to meet 20.5 by next year, and revenue directly to the players. Like that is an insane. That should also show power conferences. You don't get that money. You're not able to get to that number without an unreal amount of support from corporate donors and everybody else behind the scenes, because your TV revenue in the AAC ain't giving you $20 million per year. You get half of that through TV revenue. So tip the cap. Impressive work to be able to reach that number by next year.